What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Hope you are having a great one today, as always. And as you should be able to tell from that lovely image, we are taking a look at Spawn in glorious 6-scale fashion from Flashpoint Studios. He did come in this wonderful brown box here. I always like the brown shippers. However, side note, this was like the most snug brown shipper box I have ever had in my life. And it took me an embarrassing amount of time to get this out of there, so we just kind of cut that part out. Now, there are two versions of this figure, a deluxe and a standard. I try to always get deluxe if I can, and in this case, it's being a little tricky to open, but that's all right. Probably a good thing. Lets you check out the cool little back if you were interested. Now, with this one, the deluxe gives you an extra head sculpt, which I thought was super cool. I always like those. And then you also get his machine gun, so it is definitely worth it. Even getting this box open is proving to be more difficult than need be. So we might have to do some movie magic and edit that out. Nope, there we go. Success. And we'll just slide you over there. Now, there is another company called War Story that's done a Spawn. I believe that one's the Immortal Hero. Ooh. It is massive, though, so I'm kind of glad I didn't get it. Unfortunately, my instructions are a little bit damaged. Clearly, the fires of hell have burned through this. That's slightly impressive. I honestly don't even know how they managed to do that. Like, this looks like one of my squirrels ate it, but box was definitely sealed, so oh well, as long as the figure's good. It probably was just pressed up against his spiky foot there. I think that makes a lot more sense, but you know, whatever. And as I mentioned, the War Story one, I believe, is like 15 or 16 inches, so he is huge. This guy is hefty, but he certainly looks cool. I love that sculpt. They did a pretty darn good job with that. I'll definitely be sticking with this one. The deluxe one's without the mask. We'll take a look at it in a little bit. It does look cool, but that one's way neater. All right, so one thing I got to talk about right away is this footwear. Obviously, I do talk about shoes more often than I probably should, but the reason I'm bringing it up now, this is real heavy. It's metal. Yeah, it's weighing him down quite a bit. So one thing to be mindful of there's probably no way he's going to be able to have that foot really heavily extended. It is going to weigh him down balance-wise, so he'll be able to stand up pretty well. Now, the suit's a very interesting material. It's definitely kind of like, it's more rubbery than anything. It feels similar to the stuff they used on the Black Panther, just without the texture. That's kind of gross. Well, I don't know what that is, but be gone with you. I guess if you come from hell, you might bring some stuff with you. I honestly don't know if the paint... Since it's been a while since I've actually looked at a Spawn comic, I feel like that's not correct. I feel like those spots shouldn't be there, which gives me an indication that the white's going to potentially peel off kind of down the road. Yeah, you got some blemish there on the crotch action, which, I mean, honestly, it's not too big of a deal because he's Spawn and I don't really care. I'm just happy to have a giant Spawn. But that is definitely a downside and something to be mindful of. My biggest takeaway at the moment is just the weight of that leg accessory. It is incredibly hefty. So that's something don't want to say concerned with, but holy cow. Like, this weighs more than the rest of that figure. All right, this is one of the other things I was very curious about, was how they did the cape. It's got a lot of wiring in it. Really good look to it. And I'm sorry in advance, I don't know if it's genuine leather. It certainly doesn't feel like it. If it is, it's going to be real thin. So it's probably going to flake over time, but again, it's Spawn. It'll just kind of match all the rips and tears for the most part. It's one of the cool things I like with this character is, you know, when you're coming out of hell, that cape is so massive. When you're fighting in hell, it's really, you know, you're gonna have some damage. Now, if you haven't really read or seen any Spawn stuff, oh, give you an idea how hefty that gauntlet is. It actually damaged the, I don't know why I called it a gauntlet, it'd be more of a greave. Anyway, it actually damaged the styrofoam in there, which is frankly kind of impressive. Now there should be all of the goodies underneath this. Fingers crossed. But Spawn was huge when I was a kid. Definitely one of Todd McFarlane's best things. He also, as far as I'm concerned, created one of the coolest designs for Spider-Man. But Spawn was just awesome. The HBO animated series, if you ever want something to watch, certainly a lot more adult-friendly, but that was glorious. Moments like this, I wish I had smaller fingers. Let's see. So the sword is metal and hefty and beautiful. It's seemingly impossible for me to get out of here with my massive fingers. Success. All right, there we go. So like I said, this is metal. It is a heavy boy. And holy cow, is it cool. They did an absolutely amazing job on that. Also, kind of sharp. At least the points are. I should probably just sharpen this and then use this as my unboxer from now on. Tape would not stand a chance against this. They did a really cool job with this. Props to them. Definitely digging what they've done with their accessories. Like I said, this is my first foray with Flashpoint, so far we're off to a good start. And to get his machine gun, which is pretty dang cool. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be an AR. It definitely looks like it. You know, obviously heavily modified. You usually don't get that cool little knife there, but it's probably a little big, all things considered. But if any gun nuts are out there that know what this is supposed to be, or if they ever actually say in the series, feel free to chime in. Do have some movable parts, which is nice. Kind of unnecessary, but all right, I changed my mind. Do you actually get to take out? Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, the magazine's got to be removable, right? All right, I stand corrected. This gun is awesome. Bravo, guys, bravo. Of course, now I probably won't be able to put it together, but there we go. Snug as a bug in a rug. So that's gorgeous. Great job with that. And probably most importantly is going to be the alternate head sculpt, which hopefully we'll get to in just a moment. Extra chains. So these actually go into the head sculpt. They should come out of his eyes, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the sides of his mouth. It's been a while since I've actually looked at it. But there you go. Get the nice hamburger head styling. I just think that's absolutely glorious. Really, really good job just making that absolutely grotesque. Honestly, I kind of just wanted to get the deluxe for this to potentially use as a zombie build for a kit bash down the road. I'm not going to get another Spawn and, you know, do this version of him, but holy cow. They crushed it. That is super cool. Very impressed. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that the little smoke effects clip in there. I feel like that's probably, yeah, they go on the side of his face. Sadly, that's where the leg armor did its damage, but you get the idea. That way he's just kind of breathing out that cool little hell smoke. Honestly, it's a very, very cool figure. Probably have to do a little bit better job boxing him up. I do want to see what he ends up looking like once he's got the cape on. I'm kind of curious how the cape overall fits the body. Also, I want to take a look at the stand real fast, see if there's anything fancy about it. Nope. It does rattle a bunch, which is interesting. Did you do something fancy and put extra hands in there? I feel like they might have. I just got to figure out how to get in there. All right. Flashpoint, if you actually did this, I'm going to be very, very thrilled. So that's incredibly hard to open. I lied. All right, that's awesome. So one of them kind of went flying. Maybe two of them went flying. We'll do a little digging later. Nope, I think that's it. That is super cool. I don't think I've ever actually seen a stand that's got its own little built-in shelving unit, but that is genius. Flashpoint. Bravo. Maybe. All right, closing, it's proving to be a bit more challenging than I thought. There we go. That is awesome. I love that. Like I said, no label on there, but if you look at this and don't know that it's Spawn, you either don't pay attention to comics, which is fine, or, well, I guess that's really the only way you wouldn't know it was Spawn. All right, so real quick, I do just want to get this cape on to see how it scales up with him. I was kind of worried it's just going to basically be way too long. So he does have these little clasps there that just kind of click right in. That way that part stays nice and in place. At least ideally, maybe. There we go. These are also wired, if you were wondering. Definitely think that's going to peel over time. I'm just being honest. Looking at that, I just can see the wire kind of poking through it already. So might require a little bit of cape repair down the road. His cape is definitely longer than he is, which is fine. Don't know how well. All right, so you're gonna need to do a good amount of playing with the cape for him to actually stand up with it on, just because of the way the wires are and how long it is. So not a bad thing. Just be prepared for that. Honestly, the biggest concern and issue I have is I think they should have just done plastic for this. It would have kept the weight down immensely. And I honestly am kind of concerned that over time, the metal spikes are going to do more harm than good. Obviously, they're not going to hurt the inside of his gear, but the cape rubbing against those, I don't know. What do we have here? Did I already rub off? All right, so that's some of the paint from this. Not a huge deal, but worth noting, I suppose. So the deluxe I actually got from onesixthkit. I do love them. I think the deluxe is out of stock, but definitely worth sending them a message. They might still have some in. I want to say it was right around $200, but my memory is not the best. I think the standard was like 180, and then the deluxe was like right around 200. Might have been 160 and 180. I don't know, something like that. Was it worth it? It's a pretty dang cool Spawn. He's a lot better scale-wise than the War Story one. In the grand scheme of things, having a foot that's too heavy is really not a huge issue, but I do worry about that suit holding up, and I kind of worry about the cape flaking over time. But you get this sword. So, win-win. That'll do it for this one. Hopefully we'll have some more in the coming days. I gotta crack open Ahsoka sooner or later. She's been sitting there, and you know me, I get lazy. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.